Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us today for another webinar. This one is going to be amazing. The Art of Collaboration with Pelumi. Thanks for joining us today, Pelumi.
Thank you for having me. It's such a joy.
Of course. No, your presentation looks amazing. I know I'm going to learn a lot from you. So, as we're just waiting for a few more people to join and give people a chance to get in here, please put it in the chat where in the world you're joining from. Today, I'm home. So, I'm also a location independent traveler, but today I'm in a small mountain town in Squamish, Canada. Where are you joining from, Pelumi?
I am actually in Dubai, my home now.
Okay, nice.
Located. So yes, so shout outs and greetings from Dubai.
I've not been to Dubai, but it's definitely on my list.
Oh,
Looks like we
girl.
have
You got
people
an
from,
invite.
yeah, okay, let's go. We have people from Mexico, Denver, Illinois, South Africa, Stockholm, Greece, so many places all over the world. Welcome. So glad you're here. You'll also see a poll just started. And so we want to know, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to forming and maintaining collaborative partnerships? We have a few options there. So if you're just joining, put in the chat where you're joining from and fill that out. Got someone from Brazil. Amazing. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and kick things off so that I can pass the mic to Pelumi as soon as possible because the content she's prepared is looking really great. I'm Sam. I'm going to be the host and moderator today. So I'm going to introduce our amazing speaker and the brand behind all of this. And then I'll come back at the end and we'll do a bit of a fireside chat. So if you have questions throughout, definitely save them for Pelumi, put them in the Q&A box. I'll be behind the scenes monitoring them throughout her presentation. So I've had the chance of hosting this webinar series. I just got reminded on Facebook that we've been doing this now for over a year, which is amazing. So I've met so many incredible, talented creators like Pelumi. All of these have been recorded. They're on our YouTube channel. So definitely check them out if this is the first time you're hearing about our webinar series. It's been a pleasure. When I'm not doing this, I've created the Freedom Lifestyle. And that's because I believe that work can support the lifestyle that you want to have. And I believe in fitting work into our life versus the other way around. And I see Pelumi nodding. I already knew she got it based on some of her intro. And so I'm so excited that you're here, Pelumi.
Thank you.
If you're meeting Pelumi for the first time, like I'm getting to, she is a purposeful traveler and connected who revels in the excitement of visiting countries that are less commonly known. So you've journeyed to 80 countries. Is that still your count?
Yeah, still my
80.
count.
80 countries, 6 continents, and through her captivating content, she inspires other travelers to embrace life fearlessly, epitomizing freedom. Her mission is to demonstrate that traveling can be safe, it can be easy, and is totally doable. So join me in welcoming Pelumi. Thank you for being here.
Such a warm welcome. Oh my God. Thank you for having me. An absolute joy to be here.
Of course. So save your questions. We are going to allocate some time at the end to do some Q&A so we can dig deeper and clarify any of the topics that are discussed. If you are new to our webinar series, this has been put on by SafetyWing. SafetyWing has a big vision, building a global social safety net for remote workers and nomads. If you are tuning in today, you're interested in travel-related content, you're likely interested in traveling, working from anywhere, and so you're living nomadically, working remote in some way or aspirationally. Well, SafetyWing is creating a suite of products with all of you in mind, and has a mission of becoming your home country on the internet. So the product that we're most known for is Nomad Insurance. And what that is it gives you global, affordable health and medical coverage anytime you are traveling or working outside of your home country. Nomad 2.0 is about to come out, so I'll tease that. So that's our most popular product, hundreds of thousands of customers all around the world. But there's a number of other products coming out, all in an effort to make the ability to travel the world be accessible to everyone. And so that, geographical barriers and borders aren't what preventing people to have the type of freedom that Pelumi and I both benefit from. So that's the mission. Enough about us, enough about me. I'm really excited to pass the mic over to Pelumi and also hear what you voted on the poll. All right, Pelumi, you can share your screen and I've got those results up there. Looks like it's clear winner for the biggest challenge people have today.
I am trying to see the poll results. Can you see my screen?
I sure can. It looks great. I can just tell you 88% of people said finding the right partners was their biggest challenge, followed by negotiating terms and agreements and promoting and leveraging the collaboration. So number one challenge, finding the right partners. Is that something you can help us with?
Absolutely. That's something I would definitely be covering in this webinar. It's something I'm really wanting people to pay attention to, because you are very right. It is that source. If you cannot find people or they cannot find you, there's always that mismatch. So we'll get right into it. Thank you so much for having me again. And the first thing people always ask when I talk about brand partnership or working with brand is, when can I work with brand? And honestly, my response is when you choose to, when you decide you want to. And honestly, that still put people back. But I think the mindset of you realizing that you're a brand and you have value to bring to the table changes the game. So we'll be talking everything. Like, it is very, very detailed. The webinar is going to be covering things like your pre-collaboration. So where, how to find this brand, how to establish a solid foundation for successful collaboration. And then we'll touch also on, what to do during the collaboration. And then finally on what to do post-collaboration. I will be sharing all the gems, especially during the conversation. There's one thing you absolutely have to do. And also post-collaboration is something you absolutely have to do. So please stay tuned and grab a pen, grab a paper if you haven't already, because the tea is about to get spilled. So let me just sip some water there. Sam has done an amazing introduction. I feel like I don't need to say any more about who I am or what I do. But I'm a travel lover, but even more important, I love to educate people and teach people. I've been working with brands since I had 2,000 followers. I just did not believe that my followers count was what determined my collaboration capacity with brands. I did not believe that I needed the best equipment. I still shoot my content mostly with my phone. But I'll be going into all the T's and all the limiting mindset that we need to ditch away in order to step into content creators that are able to leverage the talent we have, the creativity we have, and also find those healthy collaboration, because there are also collaborations that are very unhealthy as well. These are some of the brands I've worked with that could fit into that tiny space. I've been really opportunity to just work with Invest, from hotel brands to BBC, to just really, movers and shakers within the travel industry, and really just wanting to step out and take up space. So before you even start thinking about working with brand, before you even start, wanting to work with brand, there are a few things you absolutely have to do. And I'm going to be covering them in as much details as possible. First of all, you have to think about the quality of your content, the quality, what you're putting out there. The reason because of that is because you're creating an online portfolio. People need to know that you're able to kind of like deliver before they want to work with you. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes as creators people make, is they kind of say, oh, when I get that dream partnership, then I'll create the kind of content. So I get a lot of people say, oh, I love to work with hotels, or, you know, I would love to work with cruise ship, or I love to work with this. Sorry, I used to travel, but it could be anything, it could be in your fitness, fashion, whatever industry you're in. But when you go on their page, there's nothing. There is no reviews, there's no content, there is no, you know, organic post that showcase that they have these skills in the first place. So understanding that your online portfolio, it could be your YouTube channel, your blog, your Instagram, TikTok, whatever you are creating constantly, that needs to be of a A-star class. You know, you need to put your best foot forward, because then you can then take that and go to brands and say, hey, I've done this in the past. I've done it organically. These are the response. These are my audience have responded to it. This is definitely a need within the industry. And this is how I'm able to fit in that space. But if you don't have that vacuum, or if you don't have that, then there's always a vacuum in place, because it's like, can you really deliver? There's always that hesitation. And then quantity. I know is people say quality, but quantity is also quite important. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and he was saying, you know, it's only in the creative space you hear about, you know, how often should you post? You know, is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it? And look, this debate has gone back and forth, and I've come to just the conclusion is, if you're serious about this, if this is something you take as a business, or you want to work, you want to be like a, you know, income base, then you have to be serious about it. You know, imagine you go to a store, like, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to see, we're from different parts of the world, so I'm trying to say a generic store. You go there on Monday, they're open. You go there on Tuesday, they're shut. And you really need to buy something. And on Wednesday, they're open. And then Thursday, they're open. And Friday, they're shut. And it's so confusing. But, you know, stores don't say, you know what, we're only going to do once a week. So why do creators do that? Your storefront or your page is kind of what is important in terms of showcasing your work. So that's very important. And by doing that, you then grow and engage with your community, which is also very virtual, very, very important at this point. So these are the things you need to be doing before you even think collaboration. This is the pre-stage, you know. Then finally focusing on content that serves your community. Remember that this is kind of like your value proposition. When you're working with brands, and we're going to talk about different ways in which we work with brands, this is one of the key ways where brands are trying to tap into your audience. And you have to have that audience in the first place. Yes, there are collaboration whereby you don't need your audience. If, for example, you're doing like UGC content and the brands are just basically using it for their own usage. But most collaboration require them to tap into your audience. And when you don't have that engaged audience, that's the key word, the engagement, they're wanting to hear from you. They believe you're a trust leader. They trust your recommendations. Those are all key things you need to be working on before even thinking about collaborating with any brand and things like that. And finally, people always hesitate about working with brands when they feel like they don't have any unique selling point. I know my unique selling point. I know that I'm good at what I do in terms of like storytelling, working, you know, traveling, showcasing places, high resolution quality content. You know, I have the receipt because I have done this over and over and again. And that gives me the confidence when I pitch to brands. A lot of the hesitation that you feel when you're pitching is because you think, oh, am I a scam? The whole, you know, imposter syndrome reduced drastically when you can show a receipt. When you're like, you know what, I have been able to do this in the past and I'm going to do it again and I'm going to do it again because I've done it. You know, so having that unique, you know, selling point and being able to prove that is very important. And finally, know your statistics. Like, if I ask you, how many followers did you get last week? Can you tell me? You know, if I ask you, what's your most performing, you know, content? Can you tell me? If you don't know these things, then don't even start thinking about collaborating with brand, because it means there's some other deeper work you need to do before you even go into collaboration with brands. So know your statistics, and that will give you the confidence to convert. If I shout out SafetyWing, for example, yesterday when I was talking about doing this talk, almost 1,000 people clicked on that link, you know, in terms of what exactly the view, what exactly are people viewing your stories, how many people are actually going to say, you know what, this is beneficial for me, I'm going to attend. So understanding your audience and what they need and what they know and having the ability to convert is also very crucial. So I hope this is all making sense. Please, if you have any questions, do let me know. There's a lot to digest. Now I'm like, oh, we need time. And I realized I always used to teach this over a 6 weeks period, but it's okay. We got it. We got it. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know also in the comments and I'll try and slow down a bit. So you need to know what brands want when they want to collaborate. And basically it's these 5 things, you know, they want awareness about their brand. They want people to know that they exist, because a brand doesn't exist if people don't even know you exist. They want to mostly increase sales because it's a business. They want to increase SEO authority because that's how you get more eyeball, which then convert later on. Social following is also a great thing because it shows community and all of that. And trust development. More people trust your brand, more people buy your brand. So all of these, if you're able to, when you're pitching for collaboration, able to use this key terminology, hey, I'm able to increase sales because I have done so in the past. I'm able to increase social following because people that follow me will follow you. I'm able to increase awareness for your brand because I have the audience that wanting to know about, travel insurance, for example. Those are important. And I also want to do just a quick one. You can do this as homework, just write 3 things you want from a brand, because it's good to know what the brand wants, but for collaboration to happen, you need to know what you want. Do you want exposure? What exactly do you want? Do you want money? And it's okay to want money as well. A lot of us work with, this is our daily bread. So you need to be very clear. And that way, when the brand, proposes something to you, if it doesn't work with what you want from the collaboration, and that's when it becomes unhealthy, then you can be like, oh, actually, this is not for me. It's not what I'm looking for right now. It doesn't really serve what I want, So knowing what the brand wants, because it helps you pitch to them and it helps you to have that healthy collaboration, and they know that you understand business, and also knowing what you want, because then there's that synergy between both parties. So ways to collaborate with brand. That's the joy of this. There's so many ways to collaborate with brand. Sponsored posts is one of the ways a lot of people know, but there are so many more ways. Affiliated marketing, having a mailing list, for example, and then placing an ad to it. If you're good with your word, having guests, being a guest blog, in other brands, take over their social media pages, their stories, their TikTok, UGC content also has been blowing up. You don't need a following in order to work with brands. You just need to see that they lack content, and you're like, look, I'm able to produce the content and have that portfolio to back it up as well. Webinars like this, like I'm doing right now for SafetyWing, this is a great way to collaborate with brands. And podcast, if you're good with talking, you can be guest podcasts and stuff like that. And also being a brand ambassador. I'm currently a brand ambassador for SafetyWing, is something I feel is so important, such an easy way to sign up. Matt is actually going to share a link on how to be able to do this, and they literally guide you through step by step what to do to become a brand ambassador. And honestly, it's just like a low-hanging fruit. You can easily do this and start. People always like, oh, how do I start? This is a great way to start. You're able to get into kind of like, what it takes, promoting a brand organically, talking about what you like, the features and all of that good stuff. So yeah, please check out the link. Matt is going to drop in the chat in a little bit. So this was 80% of you said you don't know where to find brands. So I hope you're screenshotting right now. It's like I read the room. I knew this was going to happen. So please screenshot, write it down. I'm going to tell you, these are my 5 ways I land brand deals. And like I said, I've been doing it for quite a while right now. Social media, using social media. We are on it anyways. Why are we not using it? So Facebook group are great ways, being part of like small networks. Sometimes some people go, you know what, I'm working with a brand, and they're able to provide contact details, or even brand join some social media, Facebook group to say, hey, we're looking for writers, bloggers, whatever. These are great ways. Twitter requests, I think it's X now, whatever they're being called. They're great. There's always like, searching for content creator, hashtag content creator, request for content, looking for those key hashtags and responding back. You need to do a bit of work as well. I promise, you need to be able to put that work in as well. IG, a good hack I find is what brand IG targets towards me. Because IG is a super smart, computer, if that makes sense. So what brands are IG targeting towards me? Number one, it means that the brand has a spending budget because they're able to put sponsor posts on that platform. And number two, there's always usually kind of like a connection in there. Oh, by mistake, repeat the hash part, please. Let's start. Oh, yeah. Speak slowly. Okay, I get excited and I'm like, I will slow down. Thank you for calling me out on that. Okay, so Twitter hashtags. So when people tweet, sometimes they put hashtags so you can easily find them. So if you just go to the search bar and look for things like, you know, request for content creator, searching for content creator, request for writers. It depends if you're like a travel writer or something like that. That's a great way to find it. So there's some key hashtags. I'm trying to think of anyone top of my head. So using the X app or the Twitter app, for example. And then IG, in terms of like, you know, what is targeted towards me? Is it something I organically like? Most time I do, and I buy these products and I use them. So kind of them repeating to them like, hey, I saw your ads, you know, I saw, oh, you know, I am frankly, mostly it's like travel related stuff. Like IG kind of know me. I think same for TikTok too as well. What product that TikTok's suggesting to you, and can you pitch to these brands? Because number one, they're on the social media platform. They understand the power of collaboration or content creators in the first place. So yeah, LinkedIn is a great way as well, just kind of like finding the people that are head of partnership, you know, look at their job titles and knowing that you're pitching to the right person, because a lot of people pitch to generic email, info ads, like that is going to, you know, the bottom of something. You need to be looking for a key person and sending them a direct email. There's a higher chance of that person reading and responding to your message than just, you know, where every generic request go to. So that's something you want to do. Take notes of brands that are following you already. Like this is so important. You know, go through your follow and look at who is following. Number one, it means they like your stuff. It means they're watching your stories. They probably know what you do already. That's great. That's always a great conversation. Hey, I noticed you're following me. By the way, would you like to collaborate on a particular idea? Have pitch an idea. Bing, you know, that's a great way. And then look over your followers. Take they're already following you. Oh, take notes of brands you already love and use. That's also another good way. So literally take a notepad. You can do it after this conversation, after this class, and write, like, you know, what's your favorite backpack? What's your favorite, you know, studio that you dance in? If you're a dance performer, what's your favorite accessories? If you are into fashion, like take note of what you use and love organically and pitch to those brands, because we're like, where do I start from? That's a great way to start from. And then finally, Google brand's name plus sponsored posts. That's very, very, very important. So when people do like brand, especially like blog posts and stuff, they have to put like a disclaimer. And most of the time, it allows you to see that these brands, for example, like tourism board, let's say I want to go to Oman, for example, and I want to pitch the tourism board. I want to see like, you know, what's kind of like, you know, tourist activity already worked like a previous content creator, for example. By just Googling Oman plus sponsored post, or Oman, or let's say specific thing in Oman, like Oman, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something, like let's say, you know, the boat ride or something like that. Plus, but if they've done it in the past and someone has posted on Google, that is a great way to also find this brand. So these are ways in which I know I've tried and tested it and it's worked. So do try it out. Please let me know if it also works for you. So 5 simple steps when it comes to building your brand relationship. This is so important. Number one, organically tagging them in any post. Number one, this teaches you to build that portfolio I spoke about earlier, knowing that it's very important to show up in that capacity. Number two, slide into their DM, you know, when you start paying attention, when you tag them, especially, it shows on the history that you've been tagging them. And then slide into their DM and talk to somebody. Mostly someone in charge of social media, and they're probably able to direct you to somebody as well. So that's a great way to get like a direct email. I have like a template of how I'll speak about it. It's a freebie later on in terms of like your media kit. We'll talk about media kit, but there's also a pitching template in which I have, whereby it talks about, you know, what to say in these DMs as well. And then finally, the magic is in the follow-up. You would not believe the opportunities I would have missed if I didn't just go, hey, by the way, I'm just pushing to the top of your email. I was wondering if you've had the time to look over this. Like, so easy, so simple. And the person, just think about your own busy schedule. It's very easy for things to fall off the crack. So this right now, we'll actually do like a little poll before we transition to the next stage. Sam, do you mind running the poll over for the second part of it? So for poll 2, I want to understand what aspect of collaboration excites you the most. So if you're just feeling this, what part of collaboration excites you the most? And then I'm going to go on to talk about, you know, what to do, how to reach out your media kit, post and during. I'm very conscious of time as well, because I do want some Q&A opportunities at the end. So stay with me. Okay, so very interesting splits. Some of them say excited accessing wider audience, combining creative strength and ideas. 15% said sharing sources and expertise, same as combined creative strength. And then 30, so the highest is expanding brand image through association. I'm doing that right now. Me and SafetyWing is out there. You know, my audience have seen it. It definitely expands my brand image, 1000%. I would have done it for free, even though the generous to pay me as well. But like, it is pretty cool. Like, I do have to say that is something that is what's looking forward to. So when you're pitching to brand and you want to get this opportunity to be out there, you want to get the opportunity to collaborate with them, you want to get the opportunity to bounce ideas, because some brands come with some amazing ideas and you're just like, I'm excited to collaborate with you. What exactly do you need to do to pitch to yourself? I just saw experiment mistake, sorry about that. Introduce yourself. Who are you? Your audience, you need to know where you stand. What's your unique selling point? We spoke about this earlier on. I personally comment, and my name is Pelumi Nubi, born in Nigeria, grew up in the UK, traveled to about 80 countries. That in itself is a badge of honor, because it shows I have been to a lot of places. I have wide knowledge of different places. I have a lot of experience when it comes to travel and just curating experiences in general. So why this brand? Why do I care about SafetyWing? I use SafetyWing before I started working with them. Before this collaboration, I was a user of them. I have insurance from them, and it was just important. It just made sense as a digital nomad, seek freedom, like Sam. It was just very, very important for me to have that same values, all about that. The synergy couldn't have been more better. And what value do I bring to the table? I have of 12K plus followers that are super engaged. They want to know my biggest recommendation. They trust my expertise. And that's what makes me kind of stand out. And then I have a media kit support, which you're going to cover. And then finally, call to action. Do not leave the page without a call to action. What do you want from them? Do they want you to message? Do you want to set up a meeting? What exactly do you want from these pitches? Take a screenshot, because we do need to swiftly go to the next thing. But make sure you're asking this and, putting this very concise. Please keep it short and sweet. Don't put no don't put 6 paragraph words of text, chunky, telling your life history story. Nobody cares. You have to be real. Nobody cares. Just nice, sweet, who you are, what you do, what value you bring, and what you want. Call to action. End of story. And then to this, I always attach my media kit. And in the freebie I'm giving at the end of this, it basically outlines the 10 mistakes a lot of people are making their media kit. So if you have a media kit and you just want like an audit, you'll be able to get access to these at the end. So stay with us till the end to grab that. So your media kit should include your bio. Again, who are you? You'll be surprised the amount of media kit I've audited, and they don't just talk about themselves. I'm like, you are the center stage. Who are you? A headshot is always great, a pro headshot. Your social statistics, follower count, demographic, amplify your engagement rates. I know a lot of people say, oh, but I'm only small followers. I don't know if I have, I don't know where to start. I don't know, those kind of things. Amplify the points that you are good at. If you are well-traveled, amplify that. If you get insane engagement, amplify that. If your reels go viral, amplify that. Whatever is your strong point and your talent and your skill, amplify. The type of content that you offer. So again, what are you able to do? Can you do webinars? Can you host things like that? Can you take over? Please, important to know that you only state the things you can actually do. I see some, and I'm like, have you ever done that before? And they're like, no. I'm like, what? If you haven't done it, please don't include it as an offer of what you can do. Tyre is saying something. Sorry, I missed this. Is the media kit separate from your business website? Yes, it's different. So your business website is somewhere people can go and look at it. Media kit, you usually just attach it to your pitching email. So it's something that, you know, the person in charge of partnership or collaboration and stuff like that can easily just scroll through. We're talking 1-2 pages, nothing too drastic, but it just sums up everything. With the website, it's easy to get lost in the source of what you do and what. This is just bam, 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 what I offer, all of that good stuff. So your blog and your website, testimonial, in terms of so your blog and your website, link to that. That's very, very important. And then your testimonials, if you don't have them, start collecting them. People are saying nice things about your page all the time. You're just not paying attention. If someone say, you know, I traveled to this country because I saw a post for you, I'm screenshotting that. If someone said, I bought this product because of you, I'm screenshotting that. All those, number one, are testimony to yourself because it shows that you have influence and you have impact, and also helps in terms of the collaboration as well. We'll talk about what you should be doing when you're collaborating with brands, important. And finally, contact details. You will not believe the amount of people that don't include contact details. I'm excited about your media kit. I'm excited about your pitch. And I don't know how best to reach you. You know, maybe I've sent an email, you're not responding. If you have like an alternative, like, you know, your social media page connected, or if you have like even a phone number, you know, whatever, just include the contact details that I can be able to reach you on. And I do have to just take a pause here to say, you will get rejected. It's so important to highlight that in all of the collaboration, all of the excitement. And I think a lot of people, this is what actually stopped them from reaching out. As human, we don't like being rejected. So I really just have to put a caveat and say, you will get rejected. What you do with that rejection is now what is important. And number one, there are 2 truths I hold dear to me. Number one, before I asked about this collaboration, before I reached out to this brand, the answer was already no. So think about it. If you never asked, if you never reached out, they were saying no already. So by them saying no, doesn't change a thing. You know, I think that really just helped put things in perspective, because it's like, okay, they were going to say no, and then they said no. So nothing happened. It's like, it's okay, you know, moving on. But most time I do ask for feedback, and most time it's no, not right now. They just say no, or that's what I just heard. But most time it's no, not right now. No, we don't have a budget, or no, you know, it's not the right time, or no, we're just actually collaborating, or, you know, with another content creator. But actually later on in the year will be great. But imagine I never followed up. Imagine I didn't ask for feedback. And guess what? I keep a record of every brand I pitch to and their response. And when it's not right now, it's not the best time or whatever, come back later on. I will be there later on. 6 months time, you will hear from me. You'll be like, hey, you remember that meme? Hi, you know, just some random person that walks into the room. No shame, no shame. You just got to do what you got to do. So no, not right now is not the end of it. It just means it might not be the best timing, and you just need to put yourself out there again. All right. So when do you say yes to collaboration? Because the power, remember, is a collaboration. It's not just and I think once you have that mindset shift, that you're not just waiting, anticipating, like, you know, you have no power. You have a power to say yes or no too. So these are the 5 questions I ask myself. And I think I try to make at least 3 out of these 5 be yes for me to answer it, for me to want to be part of the collaboration. If it's like a 4 out of it or 5 out of 5, I was like, I don't think I want to be part of this. So questions I ask myself. Number 1, will I enjoy it? Will I enjoy this collaboration? Will it be beneficial for me? Will I enjoy it? Like, joy is so important, and people neglect that sometimes. And I think that's why people get sometimes in the grid. So just like, oh, I'm not really liking this. Will I enjoy it? Does it pay my minimum fee? You should know your minimum fee. How much is worth your time, your work, your effort, the things you put into what you do? Does it elevate my profile? You know, there's some names you drop, you know, that shows that you've been to places and you've been in rooms that are quite unique and peculiar. So if that elevates my profile, is a hell yeah. Does it expose me to a larger audience? You know, do more people know about me as a content creator, as an educator, whatever the title you put on yourself, will it tap into a larger audience? And it's something that would challenge me and take me out of my comfort zone. I think this is super important, and probably the most important of all them, because sometimes it's so easy to get stewed in our comfort zone, what we think we cannot, and the narrative that we tell ourselves. But sometimes we just need to step out of that comfort zone. We just need to be like, you know what? I've done webinars before, but let's just say I've never done webinars before. Like, how amazing would this skill be? There's this book I'm reading currently, and I cannot remember. I think Diary of the CEO, and it was talking about how the best way to know you know something is to teach it. If you cannot teach it, you probably don't know it. You just think you do. So this is taking me out of my comfort zone. This is putting me out there. So this was all yes for this collaboration to happen. It was actually a yes, 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 yes. So I was like, let's do it. So if you're struggling about, oh, would this collaboration be great or not, try and run it through these 5 questions. And that usually is a great place to start. And yeah. So you've agreed to the collaboration, the brand is on board, you're on board. These are 3 points to you agree on before you kick off, like before you go, okay, creating content, okay, doing this. When is the deadline? You know, we had back and forth about when this webinar will happen with my travel schedule and stuff like that. I was like, this week would better, that week would better. This is the deadline, when it's expected, when it's asset expected, stuff like that. So knowing clearly, communicating clearly what the deadline would be, that will help with your collaboration and improve the relationship you have with the brands or the company you're working with. Number 2, content to be delivered. You know, am I creating a slide point? Am I just showing up? What am I doing? You know, and this is all stated in the contract. Having a contract that actually spells out everything is quite good. Where do I need to be? What do I need to do? How long is the duration? What do I need before that? You know, where would my content be used on? Blah, 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 blah. Having the contract beforehand is also super important. So I always try to make sure there is no gray area. This needs to be black and white, very clear, so that there is no misunderstanding. And finally, the compensations from the brand or the company, you know, kind of like how they compensate you for your time, your effort, all of that. And also from you, remember, it's a 2-way street. It's not just one way. Both parties need to be doing stuff for each other. And what is the promise? How are you showing up? What are you doing? Are you delivering the assets you said you're going to do? All of that good stuff. So these key points allows for better collaboration. When there's a down, when you don't know the deadline and you're showing up late, when you don't know what needs to be delivered and you're delivering, and it's like, this is not what you said, or this is what you said you wanted 2 in feed, no, it's 1 in feed, suppose, you know, it gets messy. You just don't want that at all. So once you get that ticked out, during the collaboration, there's only one simple rule when you're doing this collaboration. And the rule is, I feel like there should be some drum roll. Under promise, over deliver. Always. No excuse, no exception, no anything. Under promise, over deliver. This has been a game changer for me in terms of the brands I've worked with in the past and the relationship I've built over the years. Is like, you know, when it's stated what I need to be doing, I add just a little bit more. It's just the way I am. It's just standard. It just allows for people to just feel you've done and overdone, which is just a great way, a great place to be in any collaboration or any relationship or any time you're working with brands. So if you feel, and I think sometimes when you are making promises to brands, sometimes we get so carried away and we're like, we'll do this, and they real, and they TikTok and YouTube, and you know, and then when it comes to delivering, we're like, oh, actually, my bandwidth only allow for 1 story post. That's not what you promised. So super, super important. Great question. So what's an example of you over-delivering a bit in a collaboration? So I'll give you an example of that. A brand reached up to me and they wanted to, what's it called? They had like a particular deliverable. So it's kind of like, okay, 2 in feed posts, 20 stills. This is actually, it's still ongoing. So I cannot mention the exact brand name, but it's happening right now. And I sent it back to them. And I did the 2 in feed posts, but then I did like a motion shot, which is great for like, you know, captivating, just extra assets. You know, they asked for 70, they asked for 20 posts. I was like, you know what? I have so many pictures because pictures are great to take. Here is 70 images. You know, that is over delivering because they were like, what the heckery? We have so much to work with. Like the creative teams are over the moon because they just have so much asset to use. And, you know, just knowing that they have more to work with, they're happy with what I've delivered, things like that. Sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily, and understanding not at your own expense. I do have to caveat that. these images were already there. It wasn't like I did an extra day of shooting or something like that. So I think the best way is think about your favorite Chinese store. And when you go there, they don't necessarily give you like a whole extra meal. For example, they will give you a bag of prawn crackers or something like that, or some spring roll as a gift for spending above £30 or something like that. This is very British example. Sorry, guys. But that extra sometimes become, or just some sauce, that extra allows you to become, it just makes you, it makes you stand out. They makes the restaurant stand out from the rest that might not do it, that might just give you exactly what you ordered for. So that's basically what I do. So these are 5 important things you should be doing during the collaboration. Number 1, delivering on the promises that you made. Stay engaged, especially when it's like a social media collaboration. Don't just post and ghost, talk about it in your stories, post about it in your in-feed, like be there actively, tell people about it, what you're doing and all of that. Maintain good communication, especially when things go wrong. I know people want to fix it behind the scene, even like, just joining this webinar, like I didn't get the link. I messaged, I was like, hey, by the way, I haven't gotten the link yet. I could be quiet and try to fix it, and then I'll be late, and then it just gets worse. Does that make sense? So it's like maintaining good communication. I'm still working on it. I have to be honest, nobody's perfect, but maintaining good communication is so important. It's better to be like, oh, I'll get back to you on this. I'm just having a really busy schedule. At least the person on the other side. And I think that's so important to realize that when you're working with brands, you're not working with a brand like a brick. You're usually working with an individual, and that individual is a person that has feelings and all of that. And forming those relationships, respecting that person's time, respecting their, their workflow and things like that. I think shifting that to, oh, we're working with a collaborating with a brand, and makes it so vague. So I'm working with Sam, I'm working with Maddie, it's they're humans and they have feelings and they want me to show up in a certain capacity. So having that good communication is super important. Cross-promoting the content in order to reach. If you have like a mailing list, share there. If just do the best you can from your side, like really show up from your side. And last but not least, collect data. Make sure you know how many people signed up, how many people showed up, how many questions, how many feedback, how many comments. I take screenshots when I do post ad on my social media page. I literally take screenshots of standout comments and I put it. I'll hold on to suspense right there. There's something important you need to post, which I'll talk about. Well, I was just going to say that. So hold on your bites. We're getting them. So excited. So yeah, these are the 5 important things you should be doing. Just making sure that you are standing out. There's just a lot of creators, and it's so sad that some brands are just like, I don't want to do it. I've worked with so many creators, they overpromise, they don't show up. They, exactly like hotel stays now. It's like, no, like you say you're going to post, you don't post, you just stay and then ghost. It's like, it's not pleasant, and it destroys the opportunity for other people coming behind you. So post-collaboration, what I wanted to say, don't make it a one-night stand. I hear people, they're like, I worked with this brand. I'm like, okay, so did you work with them again? It's like, no. I'm like, okay, that sounds a bit like a one-night stand. That's not nice. That's how you see it. But it's like, make it a relationship. Like, have follow-ups, have new partnership, build on what has been gone. So based on this workshop, if there's like a particular topic that keeps coming up, I'll repitch the idea like, hey, by the way, in the chat, I noticed that some people have these questions. Do you think it's worth doing this webinar on that certain question? Like, that is a great way to just keep on building relationships. Super, super important. So this is basically the 5 things you need to be doing post collaboration. I hope people are still with me, and there will be time for questions. We are right on time. I'm so excited. I was really nervous at the beginning. I was like, oh no, we have so much to cover, but I think we got through it. So post collaboration, you want to follow up. Remember I told you about the human connection. Remember I told you that the people you're working with are, not building, not bricks, is a human. So follow up email like, hey, I really enjoyed this opportunity. They'll definitely get an email from me after this chat. Like, I really did, because it's such a good way to put yourself out there. And then review and analyze. What was the goal of this webinar? What was the goal of the partnership you had? Was it to increase reach? Was it for educating? Was it to help people do better? What exactly was the goal? And was those goals and objective met? If not, what went wrong? So provide feedback. I realized that this was amazing, like coming in, having someone to host with me and having some, looking at just how easy it was. That's a positive feedback I'm going to share. And then ask them to provide you with feedback too as well, because improvement is important. Just not being so not sure, if that makes sense. So improving on what you need to do is so super important. So provide feedback and ask for the same. And then one thing I do is like a document. I think I remember sending this document off, and it was for a company. I think I'm allowed to disclose. It was for Crabtree and Evelyn. I worked with them for quite a bit. And the social media person said, not social media person in charge of collaboration and head of partnership, she was like, Pelumi, I've worked with a lot of creators, and I can say nobody does this. Like the collaboration end, and that's it. But for you, you provide a full document. And this is so easy. Canva is your best friend, guys. Like, download Canva, use it often, get the premium version. It's $10 a month. It is worth every penny. I literally just showcase it, like a screenshot of exactly what the campaign was about. What was the reach? What was the like? And the most basic information, but allows for them to show ROI, return of investment. When a brand pays for collaboration, they need to prove that collaboration was worth it to their managers, to whatever they need to do, to their, bottom line, So showing this, like there was this amount of clicks to, there was this amount of purchase, there was this amount of comments, there was this amount of reach. And I know you cannot captivate everything because, and I put it there, as of that day, this was the rules, but sometimes rules blow up again. There's potential virality in the nearest future. So having those information and providing a literally document that just has all these details that they can then leverage for their own internal use. You don't know how they're going to use it. And this is where I also put those screenshots of what people have said. If probably someone says, I'm ready to shop right now to buy this ring because you posted about it, or I'm meant to buy these shoes, or oh my God, I didn't even know this place existed, or thank you so much for sharing these tips, or I'm buying a travel insurance from SafetyWing, because of what I saw, or I just landed this brand partnership because of this webinar. You think I'm not taking a screenshot of that review, and you think the people that I collaborated do this don't know that? You're joking. They know. They will have to know. They have no choice. So that's very, very important in terms of just sending that off. It's such a small token that makes such a big difference. Another thing that they talk about, that's a really good book, by the way. So nurture the relationship and keep communication channel. I'm going to say by saying, nurture the relationship and keep communication channels open. Very, very important. So once I send that document over, after the invoicing and all of that, I'm trying to see the timeline in which that comes in. But I usually come back to say, hey, I have this new idea, because I genuinely do, because these are brands I love and use. And people might ask me a question. I'm like, oh, that's a great content to actually post about. Are you interested in sponsoring it? Or, are you interested in doing a video about this? Or are you interested to do this? So I keep churning ideas, and the end of the year, all the brands I've collaborated with always get like a thank you email from me. Thanks for working with Pelumi for 2023. Just acknowledging that you care. 2 seconds. I'm going to answer these questions. I promise. But let me go to Madison. Okay, let me finish up this now. I'll make sure to answer your question. So, nurture relation and keep it communication channel very clear. So, in order to recap, we're actually at the end. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. But yeah, in let's recap what we learned today. Then I'll go to questions and all of that good stuff, and then action points. This is a very important action point I want you to do. So, recap. We've established how to form solid foundation. Remember that post-it note, the things you need to be doing before even thinking about collaboration, how you need to be building your brand, and you need to be making sure you're showing up, making sure you're doing all of that good stuff. Number 2, knowing the golden rules of collaboration. The golden rule: under promise, over deliver, you know, making sure you genuinely clear about the collaboration, making sure you're putting your best foot forward, because it's visible, it sense. If I come here and do a wishy-washy slide that I did in 30 minutes, you will know. You'll be like, she didn't put no effort in this stuff. You will know. This slides took a bit of time to put together. You know, even though I had the knowledge, I was like, visual, how they see it, how they digest is also important. So making sure you put your best foot forward. And finally, we also talked about how we can build this relationship, because it's so horrible when you have to keep doing this process over and over again than just doing it once. The hard work, the 80% of you guys saying that you find it hard to find those people. Imagine finding them and then losing them. It's like, no, keep the relationship, build on that, keep going, circle, 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 and keep doing that. So the action point is, I want you to send a pitch to a brand. I want you, the magic is in the doing, guys. Like, if this is the only thing you take away from this webinar, no matter the amount of knowledge you consume, no matter the amount of things you think you know, if you do not do, if you keep on learning, and learning is great, please, you showing up here shows you care about your career. It shows that you care about, you know, collaborations and putting yourself out there. But then the next step after learning is doing. So I want you to send out a page. And if you're like, okay, pitch is a bit much for me, I want you to click on that link that Maddie is about to share on the group about joining the SafetyWing partnership as a brand ambassador, because that allows you to kick off this process. It allows you to start getting used to it. It allows you to know that you care about these things and you're actually going to put in the effort. You're actually going to take that first step, and then you're going to keep going from there. So send out a pitch or simply click on the link and sign up. And that is the first stage. And I promise it's worth it. So that's it from me. I'm going to answer Q&A. Thank you so much for hanging out. I was a little bit scared, but you guys made it so easy. So thanks for all your questions. I'm going to answer now. There is a freebie, like I mentioned, the 10 mistakes people are making when it comes to brand, when it comes to your media kit. So your media kit is so important. It's like your CV for your creative endeavors. And you shouldn't be doing some things in there. So just 10 things you just use to clean it up and have something better for you. So it's on that link, which will be shared in the chat very soon. In the meantime, oh wow, a lot of questions. Oh my God. I'll let Sam take over. I'm gonna drink some water.
You answered so many as you went, which was amazing. Have a sip of water. That is great. I think the question that we didn't talk about is regarding exclusivity. Can you talk a little bit about what you think about exclusive partnerships and working with brands on an exclusive basis? Any comments around that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Exclusivity is great. It means you can charge more. Basically, when someone says they want to be exclusive, it means that you cannot go on to work with similar brands as them. So for example, if SafetyWing said they don't want me to work with any other travel insurance company or, you know, anything related to what the product line that they have, then I will have to charge more, because it means that I'm reduced opportunities or potential income. So I love and use their brand naturally, and I don't see me going any other place, but that's something you can always negotiate based on that. So if a brand comes up to you and say, we want exclusivity, is you going, okay, so in order for that, this is what I would have probably made if I was working with a competitive brand. Will you be able to play this exclusive rate? So it's just a rate you just need to put with that. Thank you so much for your kind word. I'm seeing all the thank yous.
And is that like a standard exclusivity fee, or are you kind of making it up every time based on?
You're absolutely making up every time. I think that's the thing about this industry, is that, you know, they still no standardize, and it's literally the confidence that you have in how much value you bring to the table. And honestly, you cannot be mad when people are charging more or less, or you get paid more or less. It's just like, you ain't brave enough. Next time, you know to charge more. So my rule of thumb is, if a brand is quick to say, okay, let's go for it, probably charge a little, scale up next time. But honestly, the opportunity sometimes it's not just the money. There's always that, you know, remember, we're talking about building your portfolio, building your skills and all of that good stuff. So you are making it up, but at a point you should know that this is my bare minimum. I cannot go below that. And then you keep growing. The more expertise you have, the more you grow with your numbers.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit about how some collaborations will meet that fee and will meet that price point, that value delivered. And some will want to work on some type of success fee model, an affiliate model, a referral model, a commission model with no upfront fee. How do you think about that? How would you decide whether you would be willing to do that?
I
And do
think
you
it
still?
depends on the level of work it takes from me. For example, if it was something that I needed, for example, to shoot a campaign, pay videographer, fly to a certain destination, it's just too much out of my pocket that I might not be willing to just take that blow. But if it's just a case of me promoting a product whereby it's a low cost fees, me just sharing to my stories organically, and there's no so much cost to it, then I am more likely to be open. And honestly, it's personal preference, but affiliate marketing, having multiples in different places is a great way, like I say, low hanging fruit to just start that journey. And trust me, with time, there'll be other opportunities. I always tell people, look, at a point I had to work for free, at a point, and it's not a forever thing, you know, at a point, just to build that portfolio, you work to have a lower, but imagine you just shut that door and never even considered it, then there's just no opportunity there in moving on. So it's okay to just start from those relationships, and then you can honestly turn around and be like, look, my numbers, I've gotten 100 people to buy your product. I want to charge for this moving on. You have that leverage. It gives you that leverage to negotiate moving on. But yeah, some people are like, no, I'm not working for free. And honestly, I respect that too as well. So it's all personal preference.
Totally. Yeah. And sometimes you take the risk and you say, okay, this is going to be a big opportunity, a big exposure opportunity for me. I'm going to try it. And sometimes it's not. And I think that's part of it as a speaker. You know, sometimes I speak for free and I'm like, well, this is a great audience or it could book more opportunities. And sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it does. And I think it's just something that we have to get used to and get better at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I think I found one more question, and then that might
Okay.
be it. Please let us know if you have a question. I think this is about the media kit. So someone just wanted to clarify like the media kit versus a business website. So maybe you can talk to a few key things that should be in the media kit. And then
Okay.
if you have any specific tools that you might use and lean on to measure your social stats or to pull some numbers or to measure that impact that I'm imagining you're going to tell us to put in the media kit.
So meet you having a website is important and quite interesting to have that portfolio on there. Like I said in the chat, with Media Kit is honestly just as well to make it a bit more robust and have like internal link and then direct to your social media page and stuff. But honestly, is as digestible as possible. That just showcases this is exactly what I'm able to offer you in a very simple format. On my storefront, there's also my media kit. People don't share their media kits. Like I realized that with the creative space now, like everybody can get my media kit. So if you are just nosy and you really want to know what Pelumi's media kit look like, honestly, you can grab it as well. So yeah, it's 2 pages. It says what I do, who I am, the audience I have, the demographics of my audience, what I'm able to bring to the table, and that's it, and who I've partnered with in the end. So just having those key things that, you know, brand people that make the decisions, I would just go bam, bam, bam. She has it, she wants it. It's right for us. Let's start this conversation. That's how I see Media Kit. With the website, I feel it's a little bit more dense and there's just a lot more going on there. But having both is important. But I'll go Media Kit as a quick win and then build your website over time.
Love it. Amazing. Okay, I think the rest is just applause for Pelumi. So thank you so much for bringing such great energy and sharing so much information in only an hour together. You did a great job at engaging the audience and answering things along the way, which I know there's an art to that. So great job. This has been recorded. We're going to get your slides too, right, Pelumi?
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, so we'll send all of that out. Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me again. Thanks, everyone.